I'm Jamie from puzzling.com. We've got a lot of resources on our website to teach you how to play the puzzles that are in our games, but sometimes it's a lot easier when someone just walks through one with you, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do quite a basic Kakuro. Now this is a number puzzle that involves a series of rows and columns with a sum at the start of each. So for example, this one here is a 16. So these two numbers need to add up to 16. You can only use the numbers 1 to 9, and you can only use the number once in that square. So for example, this 16, you couldn't use 2 8s. And that brings me on to the big secret of how to solve a Kakuro is what I call the essential combinations. What you want to be able to do is have a look when you start the puzzle for anything that you can fill in pencil marks for, because you know that those two numbers need to be one or the other. You don't know which yet, but one or the other. So 16, because it's two numbers, has to be a 7 or a 9. So we can pencil those ones in. This 16 here, also a 7 and a 9. Something a bit more complicated. Well, at the other end, a 3 down here can only be a 1 and a 2. It couldn't be anything else. And the 16, also a 7 or a 9. So we can see here that this needs to be 10. And we know that one of these is a 7 or a 9, and this one is a 1 or a 2. But only one combination of those two adds up to 10, which is the 1 and the 9. So we can go ahead and put those in. Now what that enables is it clears the pencil marks over here, and we can see that those two now need to be that and that. There's a very long one here that I'm a bit worried about. This is a 3, and without even putting pencil marks in, we can see that there's already a 2 in this column. So this can't possibly be a 2, otherwise there would be 2 in the same one. So that needs to be the 1, and that must be a 2. Let's jump around a bit. We'll go over here. This 4 can only be a 1 and a 3. Is there any other ones? Okay, a little bit more. 24, 3 numbers, that can only be 7, 8 and 9. They're the only numbers that we have that will add up to 24. So we can put those in. And then what that enables us to do is we know what the other number must be. It must either be the thing that adds up to 16. If it's a 7, then it could be a 9. If it's an 8, well, it can't be an 8 because you can't have 2 8s. So it must be a 7 or a 9. Now we've already got the 7 in this column here, so we can do the same thing. We can knock that out because that's the 9 and that's the 7. Coming here, 14, so we've got a 9 and an 8. So to add up to 14, that would have to be a 5 if it was the 9, or a 6 if it was the 8. So we can put in there pencil mark 5 or 6. And similarly here, 12 needs to be either 3 or 4 to go with the 8 or 9 to make that up. Now we don't have any information further down here, so we might want to move somewhere else and come back there. Often you'll find with Kakuro is the puzzle develops on the outside edges and works its way in, so the complicated stuff is where you kind of finish it off in the middle. Right, down here we've got two 16s that we know are going to be 7 and 9. Oops. Those. But again, this 8, it can't be a 9 because that would be over 8. So it must be the 7, and it must be a 1 that's with it to make up to 8. And we can put in the 9 and the 7. Where next? So this column here, let's stay down here, this is a 13, and we already have a 7 and a 1. So the remainder has to add up, so that's 8, and this has to add up to 5. Now because we've already got the 1 in that column, it has to be a 2 and a 3, because no other numbers will add up to that. Which means that for an 11, if it was a 2, it would have to be a 9 in there, and if it was a 3, then it would have to be a 8 in there. Now we can't have an 8 in there because it's 16. That has to be a 9 or a 7. So that must be a 2, and that must be a 9, and that must be the 3, which means this, because it's 16, is a 7. Let's go up to this corner and see if there's anything here. Right, 23. That is another essential combination. That can only be a... So 24 is 7, 8, and 9. So it must be a 6, 8, and 9 to add up to 23. They're the only numbers that will do it. Which means 6, 8, and 9, which means it hasn't got a 7 in it. So that can't be a 7. So that has to be a 9. And that must be the 7. And that must be a 9. And then these two are going to be the 8 and 6. And say it with me. This one's a 17. So it can't possibly be a 6 because we don't have a number 11 to play with. So that must be an 8. That must be a 9. This must be a 6. And because this is 16, that's another essential combination, 7 and 9. We've only got, well, we already pencil marked it, so we know it's going to be a 1, but just to double check, the 9, add 6 is 15, add 7 is 22, so that adds up to 23, so it would have to be a 1 anyway. So that means that's the 1. Change that to a 7. We know that 3 must be a 7 to add up to 10. This must be a 6 to add up to 13. Now where next? There's not much help there. Six plus 7 is 13, so these two have to add up to 7. So that could be a 1. If that's a 1, it could be a 6, but it can't be because there's already a 6 in the number. So it can't be 1 and 6. It could be 2 and 5, but we've got 2 in this column and this column already, so it can't be 2 and 5. So it must be 3 and 4. So we can pencil those in. Now that's helpful because we know that this one must be a 3 and a 4. This one must be a 3 and a 4. Are we ready to go and do that big sum? Let's just pencil this in first while we get our brains ready for that. So this is 10, so 3 and 4. If it's a 3, then plus the 2 is 5. So this would need to be a 5. And if it's the 4 and this, then this would need to be a 4. Unfortunately, that doesn't help us, so we're going into the big one, I think. So to add up to 40, we've got 9, we've got 2, so 11, we've got 7, 18, we've got 1, 19. We know these two add up to 7, which takes us up to 26. Now that leaves us 14 to find, and we know that this is a 5 or a 6. So if this is going to have to be adding up to 14, then 5 would be a 9, and 6 would be a 8, and we've already got a 9 in this column, so it must be 8, which means that this one has to be the 6, which means this is the 8, this is the 9, makes that the 3, makes that the 4, makes that 3, makes that 5. So this one adds up to 38. So we've got 10 in already there. We've got 15 and 8 is 23. We need to get to 38. So this is also 15, which 15 could be 8 and 7, but we've got both of those numbers already in. It could be 6 and 9, and that's the only two it could be, so it must be a 6 and a 9. If this one's a 6, then this would be a 1. 9 takes it over 7, so it has to be the 6, which gives the 1, which gives the 6, which gives the 9. Puzzle complete. Hope you enjoyed that. Please do like the video and subscribe to our channel, and let us know in the comments below if there's any particular type of puzzle that you'd like to see more of. See you next time.